Hey, how y'all doing? Just gonna make another video real quick. This time I want to talk a little, I guess WNBA. I want to say that, look, man, the things that people were complaining about Caitlin Clark are starting to come, into fruition a little bit. Now they're a good team. They're a talented offensive team, so they're not going to be like one of the worst teams. But we were all talking about Caitlin Clark like she was a generational player, and she still does a lot of things really well. But the issues that she has uh, have been kind of exposed this year. She is a turnover machine, and you're just when you're a player that has the ball in their hand all the time is committing seven turnovers a night or six turnovers a night or five turnovers a night, they're just gonna have like how can you compete for a championship that way? It's just you just can't do it. You know, even if she provides highlight material or nice passes from time to time, the Fever have a big turnover issue. It's not just her; it's just the whole team, but it's mainly Caitlin Clark though. And I've been said that that needs to be fixed. And at this point, it is a problem. So, uh, so I don't know what they're gonna do. Like everybody's getting all upset at the draft. Like, why are they drafting a point guard? Well, you know what? When your point guard is turning over the ball five times or six times, she turned the ball over today. She played the Dream today. She turned the ball over seven times. Like you can't do that. And Atlanta Dream are a good team. Like in my opinion, a championship contender. Definitely an Eastern Conference. Well, I don't know if they do the conferences. I think they just do seeding. But they're contenders. I don't know if they'll win it, but they'll be up there. Now they got Angel Reese to complement the other players on the team. And I said on my Twitter, I said um, when you have enough scoring where Angel Reese can just be a rebounder, defender, and just do the dirty work, I mean, you're a contender, right? And that's what they have. They have a bunch of people who can score, and she is going to raise hell on the boards, and she's going to defend she's going to defend her behind off, and that's what they needed. They needed that type of player, but she wants to do more than that, but that's really all they need her to do. They can score from what I can see. They don't need to get her the ball and just I know she wants the ball, but you know she don't need to be taking these threes that she's taking. She just needs to you know do what she does, which is rebound and defend. And she's one of the best at it, if not the best at it. Uh, so yeah, they're more contenders than the Fever are. If the WNBA is going to promote somebody, they need to promote you know players like Olivia Miles, which is fair. Like I mean, look. So ultimately, people who are saying slow down, Caitlin Clark is good, but she's not the best player in the league. I mean, they look. It looks like they're gonna end up being right, man, because unless and I've been said it. I said, look, man, her shot selection is not great. She needs to work on her mid range. She needs to finish a little bit better, and she can't fall in love with these crazy threes. And she has her good nights and she has her bad nights shooting, but that's really not the main problem. It's these turnovers, man. It's not and it's not even just the turnovers. It's that they're picking on her on defense. Like when it seems like these teams get in trouble, they just kind of isolate her and they just go to work. They just say, she can't guard me, and that's kind of a problem. They need to come up with. They gotta break up. They gotta make a decision between Kelsey Mitchell and Clark, in my opinion. Like, you can't have two guards that pretty much can't defend. Like Kelsey Mitchell's way too small, and Clark is. Um, she's just not a great defender. Period. I don't think she's necessarily a bad defender, but you need a two-way player on that team. You need somebody who's going to, um, get some stops. get in somebody's face and make it super difficult for you to score. They drafted Raven Johnson. We'll see. Maybe that'll be her future role. But you got to make a decision between Clark and Mitchell. Like, that's basically what being a GM is finding that balance between your best offensive players or and getting enough defensive players around uh, your star player. That's why two-way players are so important, man. Like, if you can find a good offensive player that's a 20-point scorer that also is a dog on defense, man, you got a gem. Those guys are so valuable, man. And like I said, that's why the Knicks were able to win because Towns stepped up on defense, and you already had Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges, who all are good defenders. That's why they won it because it's Brunson who's gonna score. Maybe he's not a great defender, but he competes, and you got everybody else who's going to really play D. You know, that's why you got to be so special if you're just like a, a guy that can't really play defense like that because you can't put too many of those kind of guys on the court at the same time. So if you already have one guy that's a great scorer and his defense ain't great, you can't put him with another guy that can't play defense. It's just too many holes out there, and these teams are too good. It's the same thing in the women's game. Like, there's too many holes on the defensive side of the fever for them to compete. I understand exactly what they were thinking when they took Raven Johnson. I don't know if she was the right player, but um, when people were complaining, you can't say anything right now because Clark is turning the ball over way too much. And I've been said that. I have no problem with her. I like Clark, but she the turnovers and the defense got to get way better. And if it's not going to, and if it can't be improved, well, then they got to do something about getting Kelsey Mitchell out of there because they can't compete this way. They just they just can't do it. They just don't have. You got to get better on defense. You're not going to win with this type of level of defense. It's just not going to happen. Um, since I'm on NBA, let me just make a quick comment about the finals and De'Aaron Fox and the Knicks and all that. First of all, congrats to the Knicks. I'm not a Knicks fan, but you gotta give them credit. I was born in New Jersey, but I'm a Bulls fan, so. But you got to give them credit. Jalen Brunson has had a great series. Um, Knicks had a great series. OG had a good series. Towns had a good playoffs. Not necessarily a great final, but he had a good playoff. They're a balanced, good team, and they deserved it. Now, with that said, I do think the Spurs could have won this series. I don't buy the argument that they were too young. I think the coach for the Spurs is terrible. Mitch Johnson is a terrible coach, or he's needs some development as a coach because I think he made a lot of mistakes, and the biggest mistake was um, not realizing that you couldn't play Fox as much as you were playing him. Um, it should have started in Game 4 when the Spurs were losing that lead. Um, you had so this is basically what the Spurs core team is. It's Fox starts with Castle, with Vassell, with Champagny, or Vassell, Champagny, and Wembenyama, right? And then they have guys like Harrison Barnes or Luke Cornett and Dylan Harper coming and Keldon Johnson coming off the bench. So they basically have a 9-man rotation. Okay, so they cut Harrison Barnes completely out. Like, he was like really not a factor after game 2, I believe. Okay, so basically you cut him out, and you have Cornett, Johnson, and Harper coming off your bench, right? Okay, so Fox is your point guard, and usually he's pretty good. I loved Fox coming out of college. I thought he was going to be special, and he's had a very good career, to be fair. At least individually wise, he's obviously proven himself to be one of the better guards in the game offensively. But if this exposed anything, it's that he is again like one of these players that, when his offense is good, it's good, but if he's not scoring, uh, he that it's he can't really contribute in any other way. So the issue is, they had another player that can pretty much do what he does, and he was playing better, and they just either wouldn't let him shine and give him the ball, or they were benching him. And early in this series, they were just not playing him nearly what they needed to be playing him. Then they realized, oh yeah, we got to play him too. But um, when you play both Harper and Fox, you are not maximizing your defensive and rebounding capability. Okay, because your two-way players are Vassell, Castle, Champagnie, and Keldon Johnson. Those guys are all great rebounders for guards and forwards. All of them. They're That's why the Spurs were kind of able to play that type of style, even though I hated that type of style where it's like four out, one in. But Champagnie was a beast on the boards. Keldon Johnson is one of the best rebounding guards. I even noticed that way before this series that he's one of the best rebounding guards. So when you play Harper and you play Fox, instead of having three of those guys, three out of the four of those guys out on there, you have two of the four out there. And because Fox is not going to rebound, and Fox is not going to play defense he's not going to really make it too difficult for a player to score. So yeah, so I really thought you had a 15-point lead in game four going into the fourth quarter. Any type of early run that the Knicks were going to do, you had to basically run that type of lineup where Fox is on the bench, and either Mitch Johnson didn't want to do it, or he didn't think it was necessary for him to do it. And this has nothing again to do with that game four play where Fox got that steal and tried to get that layup, and it got nothing to do with that, because a lot of people are criticizing him for that, saying, "Oh, he should have backed it out and shot the free throws or whatever, had them foul him and shot the free throws." No, he was fouled on that play. So who knows what could have happened if they would have actually made the right call, because OG clearly hit him in the arm and he got him in the body before he even got to the glass on that layup. So that was a bad no call. That's got really nothing to do with that. Before that play even happened, he was just playing awful. He was turning the ball over. He was not taking good shots. They're making excuses for him, saying he was hurt. Okay, if he's hurt, then you shouldn't play him. Like, he wasn't the type of player, and this was not the type of team where he just had to play and you had nobody else that could do the job. He had You had options. Dylan Harper, pretty much going forward and in this series, was better than De'Aaron Fox. So they should have learned their lesson in game four. Then in game five, they're in the same situation. They do the exact same thing. They basically play Fox the whole fourth quarter, definitely down the stretch. And again, the Knicks just go to town. Jalen Brunson, 45 points, and they can't maximize the type of defenders that they want to put on everybody. They're giving up key offensive rebounds because they don't have their best rebounding lineup out there, because they have to play Fox and they won't want to look stupid for not playing Harper. So they thought they had to play both, instead of just benching Fox and saying, yeah, we just, fourth quarter comes, this is our best lineup. And they screwed up. I mean, Keldon Johnson was a sixth man of the year, and he was getting like 10 minutes a night. Like, while Landry Shamet is getting 30 minutes a night off the bench. So for the Knicks. So it was just he just didn't know how to manage the team. Didn't know how to manage his bench, and you know, it just wasn't really that good of a showing for him, in my opinion. A, a real coach and a good coach wins that series for the Spurs, but it is what it is. And also, I guess a quick critique of Victor Wembanyama. Okay, look, man, I tried to say that. Look, I think he's a good player, but he but they tried to overrate him and say he was the best player in the league, and I was just like, man, he's just not there yet. Like, he's got holes in his game. He's you know, and like he doesn't want to fight for position like he probably should, and he just takes a lot of bad shots, and also again one of these superstars that wants to play the bare minimum instead of getting himself in the type of shape he should be getting himself into and saying, I'm trying to play 82 games, I'm trying to play 40 minutes a night. Like, I just don't understand this NBA, and then maybe this is me being old or whatever, I don't know. Like, I'm just don't understand this NBA where it is acceptable for your best player to get paid or get the spotlight, and he is not playing crazy minutes. He's not, he's playing like 50, 60 games a year, and that's acceptable. It's just not acceptable, dude. Like, it shouldn't be acceptable for any organization. I'm telling a dude straight up, like, yo, I'm drafting you. I'm signing you. You're I'm not. We're expecting you to play hold up a standard here, and for you to play pretty much every night. Obviously, if you're hurt or if you're whatever, then yeah, we'll try to be careful. But you need to be playing, and that needs to be clear. And it's like these dudes just don't seem like they want to play. They want to, I think they earn like time off or whatever, and I just think that's just crazy to me. Like, that's absolutely crazy. But it is what it is. And so I guess just to recap my main points of me talking about the NBA Finals is um, Mitch Johnson is never going to win a championship for the Spurs. Victor Wembanyama was kind of overrated. He's not the best player in the league. Jokic is still the best player in the league. And again, Mitch Johnson should have benched Fox. If he would have benched Fox, maybe. I mean, I still wouldn't have changed my mind about Wembanyama, but at least he would have had a championship, and it would have been very hard to argue that he wasn't the best player in the league if he would have won a championship. But he didn't, and they didn't. So, but yeah, and the worst thing about the Aaron Fox thing is that it seems like the Spurs are doubling down. Maybe they know they can't trade him. I don't know, but they're basically doubling down, saying, "Oh yeah, he's definitely going to be on the team. He's definitely our future." Because they signed him to a 4-year deal, a 4-year extension where he's making over 50 million a year. And the truth of the matter is, he should be coming off the bench. He should be. Like, I mean, Dylan Harper is better than this guy. And I knew as soon as they drafted him that this was going to be a problem. They should have tried to trade him the second that they drafted Dylan Harper. But and this is and let me make one more quick point. This is why you do not. Well, I shouldn't. Well, you shouldn't have this blanket mentality of I'm going to take the best player in the draft. Yes, you obviously want the best talent you can acquire, but if there is going to be a position issue where you cannot play more than one person, then you got to consider that. With guards, a lot of these guards have to have the ball in their hand. Otherwise, they're going to be either unhappy or they just can't function. Like, it's just how they're brought up, you know. And you know, sometimes teams want to play one big man instead of two, and you have two big men that are good and should be on the court, and they're just not going to get in because the coaching philosophy is to play one big man at a time. Like, you got to consider these things. In my opinion, you should never ever play one big man by himself, but it just seems like that's the way the NBA is going these days. But so Yeah, so I just wanted to make that point. Like with the Bulls, we have Noah Senge, we have Mattis Bucelis, and it looks like we're going to get Caleb Williams. That's obviously going to be an issue for somebody. Like, like we need a center. Meanwhile, we have no center. So it really just doesn't make any sense to take a power forward again or another forward again, unless he's going to be really, really good, which I do think Caleb Wilson will be good. But I just hate the fact that you got to keep taking the same players in the same position over and over and over again. But that's just my opinion. We'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just thank y'all for listening. Uh, Appreciate whatever support I get, any comments, any ads, or whatever. I just appreciate whatever. Thank y'all for listening. All right. Thanks.